What the is leadership? Thought-provoking conversations with expert leadership scholars, exceptional leadership practitioners, and other extraordinary individuals. Good day. I'm Jonathan Kroll, and I am the founder and executive director of Leadership Trainer. I am so excited for this conversation with Daymyen Layne, who has been an extraordinary board director for Leadership Trainer over this last year and is working for my alma mater, Quinnipiac University, as the director of multicultural education and training. He's also the founder and executive director of his own consulting firm, the Layne Group, that focuses on organizational development with an EI, emotional intelligence lens. Daymyen, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great. How are you?
I'm doing so wonderful. And as you know, we start this conversation the same way every time. Daymyen, what the is leadership?
I love how you put that question. To me, leadership is about growth, not only of self but of others. Right? I feel like a lot of people think about leadership as this mystified thing of someone leading a herd of people through like a dark forest. And it can be that, but once we get into the office space, I think we've all seen examples of great leadership and fellowship and poor leadership. And the great leaders really do focus on the people, and this is part of why the Layne Group focuses on emotional intelligence, because leadership to me is about empathy. It's about the human condition. It's about growth. So, that's what I would say. The fuck leadership is. It's it's about growth.
Awesome. And I love how you positioned it about both personal growth and others' growth, right? That it is so relational, and it's so important for us to be able to balance and navigate our own flourishing as well as others or the groups thriving. I think that's so very important.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people take the leadership route and they make it super transactional, to where it's just, oh, what can I take from you, or what can I glean from your wisdom, or or what can I impart on this person when that person might not care about what you can impart on them. But we're not taking people as sort of the sum of all parts sometimes, and giving them the pieces that they actually need. That a lot of times we project, as leaders, we project on people what we think they need, as opposed to really digging into their own growth and what they might need. And that's where we move into a bit of a transformational space away from that transactional.
Yeah. And because I know you, I know how important it is for us to be focusing on our identity as part of that transformational process. You're a master trainer with Leadership Trainer for our Black Men's Initiative, as well as our Northeast Immersion Retreat coming up in this next year. So talk a little bit about the importance of understanding who we are as leaders and why that's so important for our own growth, but also for the growth of others with whom we're engaging in that leadership or followership capacity.
Yeah. So identity is a funny thing, right? It's not only everything that we carry through the world, it's everything that society puts on us as well. So, as we're trying to lead in these spaces that might not necessarily share the identities that we carry, especially those who come from marginalized backgrounds, when we think of access and equity, right, it's important for leaders to think about identity and the different things that people are facing in this sort of intersectional lens. So for instance, men, we can talk about privilege, right? The gender pay gap is out there, right? The wage gap is out there. Men may never have to think about the issues of women if we didn't want to. This is what privilege allows. right? But as leaders, the onus is on us to push past that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important for us to think about our identities, to think about our privilege, to think about what we carry through the world, so we can then work to elevate the voices of others. And I think that's what a lot of leaders lose, right? We're so wrapped up in this fucking path of climbing the corporate ladder, right, for ourselves, that we sometimes don't think about those who might be marginalized with policies, with procedures, or anything that might be going through our office in terms of equity. And obviously, there's inclusion there.
I hear your son, which is great.
Yeah, he's hanging out. He's hanging out with Dad for the day. Yeah, so obviously there's inclusion there, right? Diversity is not enough for us to think about. Diversity. Verna Myers says diversity is just inviting people to the dance, while inclusion is actually asking those people to dance. So, we have to think about all those things when we have that identity conversation. It's about who's at the table currently, but it's also about who's not at the table.
Yes.
More important. Yep.
Absolutely. Daymyen, this has been such a rich conversation, and I always like to give our guests the last word. So what else would you like to say, if anything, about what the leadership is?
I'll double down on my point about moving leadership from the transactional piece to the transformational. Get out of your own way, right? A lot of times we're so caught up in our own salaries and titles that we're not thinking about what's best for ourselves and others in whatever situation we're in. So get out of your own way. Try to turn your leadership from that transactional point of view to a transformational point of view, where you're actually making some change for people and, consequently for organizations.
Wonderful. It sounds like your son has the last word, so we'll take that. Daymyen, thank you so very much for this conversation. This was really quite enlightening. I deeply appreciate your reflections on leadership moving out of this transactional space and place to be transformational. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining this conversation on what the leadership is. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to check out leadershiptrainer.org for all of your leadership training, programming, and resources.